FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry, Lutz, and today is 2/14/20. Well, we're almost halfway done with February. What is going on here? Well, the markets are still crazy, and precious metals kind of in a holding pattern here. 1555 has become support, and where we go from here, anybody's guess. Might just have to wait till later in the year for the next rally. But nonetheless, time marches on. The stock market's headed higher. Tesla's been a little slow lately. A little boring. I guess all the political news has squeezed it out. Well, anyway, what's your opinion? Where do you think Tesla's heading? Is it heading to zero or infinity or somewhere in between? Why don't you write us? Let us know your opinion. KL@KerryLutz.com. Well, draining the swamp. We're now really in the thick of things. Elections. We just had the New Hampshire primary, and Bernie Sanders was an underwhelming victor, followed up by Pete Buttigieg, and Klobuchar, number 3. Well, the media is making a big thing. Amy Klobuchar is finally getting traction. What is really going on? And then we've got all of these firings by Trump. We've got resignations at the Department of Injustice. We've got national security staff being dramatically pared down. They got rid of 70 people the other day. What the heck is going on? Well, we are really fortunate today to have with us Amy Kremer. And Amy, you are co-founder and chair for Women for America First, former congressional candidate, and Tea Party Express chairman, so many other things. So when it comes to the grassroots, I guess you know what's going on. So what is going on here?
There's so much going on, and I cut my teeth in politics back in 2009, 2010, when we took the gavel out of Pelosi's hands and helped elect so many people to D.C., such as the Ted Cruz's, Mike Lee, Rand Pauls of the world. And we find ourselves in this situation now where President Trump is our president in the Oval Office. I don't know about you, but he has far exceeded my expectations. He's accomplished more in 3 years than most presidents accomplish in 2 full terms. But he has also been hamstrung by these Democrats, the swamp, actually. And we've seen it with impeachment and Russia collusion and Ukraine and whatnot. And, we need to pull that plug and just let the swamp drain. And when I talk about swamp, it is the Democrats that led the impeachment sham. But at the end of the day, there are Republicans that are involved in the swamp too. And I think that was the beauty. I try to find the silver lining or see the glasses half full. And that was part of the beauty of 2018. Even though we lost the House, we got rid of a bunch of Republicans that were wishy-washy and wanted to stand with Dems more than they did with our president. So I think that going forward, we're going to focus on taking back the House, taking that gavel out of Pelosi's hands. It's going to be hard to, get the message out and talk about the things we're doing, because as you and I both know, that presidential politics is going to suck up all the oxygen in the room. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's one candidate in this presidential primary field, the Democratic primary field, that can beat President Trump. If you saw his New Hampshire primary numbers, he came out with almost 120,000 votes, more than Obama and Reagan combined for an incumbent president, which is unheard of. And those people didn't just show up to vote for the incumbent. They showed up to say, we love you, President Trump. Thank you. We're behind you. And so I think we're going to see more of that across the country. And they want him to keep draining the swamp with these firings. And, a lot of I've heard it a number of times, especially on the Sunday shows, that it's time to move on and, put this Russia collusion, Ukraine, all this stuff behind. But I can tell you from the grassroots perspective and the American people across the country, that's not what they want. They want them to be held accountable and for them to pay the price, because if they're not held accountable, then we're essentially saying it's okay to continue to do this stuff. And we have to make sure that it never happens again. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. But the swamp's been gaining power for the past, since post-World War II, obviously, through Korea, through Vietnam, through Afghanistan, through Iraq. The deep state basically runs the military-industrial complex. They're the ones behind endless wars, always keeping us at war because they can make more money at war than in any other time. Someone once told me that these big corporations make more money in an hour of war than they do in a year of peacetime. And we've been getting ripped off by them all these years. So it appears that Trump wants to put an end to this, but I guess you can't fight every battle all at once. You got to prioritize. Absolutely, you do. And, I've heard him say before, the military industrial complex, they're not making money unless we're dropping bombs. And for the people out there that don't understand it, then what happens is that, these contractors go in and charge billions of dollars to rebuild stuff, and so they're making so much money, and it's American taxpayer dollars that are being spent there. So, he can't do everything all at once. But I think it's important that he does drain the swamp and that we do get to the bottom of the three-letter agency, the corruption within the three-letter agencies, our intelligence agencies, because the American people have lost trust. And it's a sad day when we no longer trust the FBI, the NSA, those three-letter agencies. And I think the only way to restore that trust is for people to be held accountable and to show that, no matter what level you are in those agencies, you are going to be held accountable. Now, I mean, it's not your everyday FBI agent. Let's be clear. For the most part, it was people in leadership. But and all this fallout with Roger Stone, and the DOJ saying they're going to ask for 7 to 9 years to sentence him, and then now they've backtracked on that. And I put out, on Twitter a couple of days ago that it's an injustice and it's a breach of trust to the American people if you have Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Page and Clapper and Brennan and all these people walking free, and Roger Stone's going to jail for 7 to 9 years. I mean, obviously Trump supporters are being persecuted, and we can't allow that to stand. But I think that the only way, in terms of the deep state right now, until we take that in the House, the only way that anything is going to come of that is by the United States Senate, Grassley and Senator Grassley from Iowa and Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, who is chair of Senate Judiciary. They have the power of the subpoena, and they can call people in and question them and get to the bottom of this. And I know that there's a focus on Biden and Burisma and that sort of thing. And yes, we do need to get to the bottom of it. But I think even more than that, we need to get to the bottom of the Russian collusion and find out how that dossier and all that came to be, because they literally weaponized parts of the federal government to take down a presidential candidate. For sure.
We cannot have that happening.
Agreed. So, hey, we're looking at this bumper crop of loser candidates that the Democrats have put forth. Got sleepy, creepy, non-compos mentis Joe Biden. And this guy, look, it's like they raided a nursing home for half these candidates. And, and the rest, they're trying to troll the assisted living facilities around the country. What is going on? And then you got Pete Buttigieg, and it's madness there. And this is not a winning formula here. What are these people thinking? That's what I want to know.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Luminex Resources, ticker symbol LR on the Toronto Venture and LUMIF on the OTC, is a member of Lumina Group, the Ross Beatty company that has returned nearly 10 to 1 to investors since its founding in 2004. It's currently advancing a portfolio of large-scale exploration properties in Ecuador with 3 key assets and 2 world-class partners, Anglo American and BHP. With the decline in other sectors of its economy, Ecuador is aggressively nurturing its growing mining sector, and Luminex is a prime beneficiary of the new policy. If passed as prologue, investors should see outsized returns on the company's gold and copper holdings. For more info, go to luminexresources.com and make sure you sign up to get the company's latest notifications. That's luminexresources.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Listen, I say grab the popcorn because it is going to be a fun show to watch between now and their convention. I think they are fully headed for a brokered convention. It is obvious that Bernie is the one that has the momentum. After the New Hampshire primary, I think that I don't know how Elizabeth Warren and Biden move forward. Now, we know that Biden left the stage with the big kids and went to South Carolina, but I just don't know how he moves forward. And then you get to Super Tuesday. I mean, they've got the Nevada caucuses coming up, but Super Tuesday, and it's which of these candidates have the money and the infrastructure to go forward to, really make a play for it in Super Tuesday. And I don't know, besides Bernie and maybe Buttigieg, has the infrastructure to do that. Amy Klobuchar, obviously, she's the surprise candidate that came in third in New Hampshire. But let's be real. We've already seen some of the stuff come out about her, and then, she wasn't really performing. And so it withered away. I fully expect the attacks to come, and there's going to be more, opposition research to be done on her. So who knows what will come out there. But I think the reality is that the far left base of the party, is with Bernie, and the party, the powers that be, do not want Bernie and are willing to do anything to make sure he does not get that nomination. And so it is going to be a show for all to see between now and the summer.
So in other words, they got to kill the party to save it, right? And that might mean taking on Nanny Bloomberg, because he always knows what's best for everybody anyway, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think that guy, I don't think he has a chance anyway. But, we've seen he's willing to spend his money. But look, Tom Steyer spent his money too. And what did he come in? He got 1 or 2%, maybe 3% in New Hampshire. So Nanny Bloomberg is going to, spend his money and let him spend it. It's generating economic, it's generating economic activity in these states. But at the end of the day, I don't think the American people want somebody who is going to tell them how big their drink can be and how much sugar can be in it. Americans are pretty free, and we love our freedom and liberty. And the last thing we want is a nanny telling us what to do. So I don't think he's going to go far. But I think the Democrats, the leadership of the Democratic Party, see him as an alternative to President Trump. And I don't agree with that. I don't know how he let him spend his money, like I said, but I don't honestly, Kerry, I don't think there's one of them that can beat President Trump, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's getting more and more obvious. I've said for several months now that this is a deliberate strategy by the Democrats, that none of these candidates who are purportedly running for office had a chance, and none of them would be the eventual nominee. Eventually, the wizard will step out from behind the curtain, and that wizard appears to be a guy who is about as big as the wizard in Wizard of Oz. I think it's Bloomberg. He could just pay $10 million per delegate to get what he needs. And I think he's going to do it because he's 78. He's got nothing to lose. He's got more money than sense and time. And hey, if nothing else, he'll get his points across. And I think he's the wizard. I think he's the one we've been waiting for. If there's a real battle and none of the candidates go, then I would have to pick either Tim Walz, who's the governor of Minnesota, because without Minnesota, the Democrats have no chance. Without the Midwest recapturing part of it anyway, they've got no chance. Or Tom Wolf, who they say is a total communist, who's the governor of Pennsylvania, because they absolutely have to get Pennsylvania back in the fold if they have any hopes of winning. But I guess we'll leave that for the show. You know, last time for Hillary's convention, they made it seem like it was this love fest when it was really a hate fest. It was a failed convention. If you remember, the emails got leaked the first day, so Debbie Washerwoman Schultz had to quit as head of the DNC, and then we got Donna Brazile leaking the answers to the questions, all these things, and then they isolated and alienated the Bernie bros rather than embracing them, and as a result, a lot of those Bernie bros stayed home. So now they're back out, but Bernie is a different candidate than he was in 2016. He's got a bum ticker, and he's pandering much more to the far left because everybody else caught up with him, and now he's like one of the pack.
Yeah, no, listen, I think honestly that what we're seeing happening in front of us is the demise of the modern day Democratic Party. I mean, this is no longer your father's Democratic Party, and starting with Iowa last week, and then with Nancy Pelosi's meltdown at the State of the Union, and then the acquittal. Nancy Pelosi is not in control of her caucus. I don't think she ever wanted to go down that impeachment road. I think the far left wing of the caucus is in charge. The squad is actually calling the shots. She went down that road because she would have been removed as Speaker of the House had she not. And now you look at the presidential field, and I think the Bernie bros are, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, they're the ones, the base of the party that is marching along. And if it doesn't go their way, there's going to be a revolt. And I've heard some say that they will vote for Trump. I'm sure a lot of them will sit home. But it is definitely going to be interesting. I don't know how they survive this. And if they go to, look, everybody thought the Republicans were going to go to a brokered convention too, and we didn't. We know that there were a handful of people that tried to stop the nomination of President Trump. And I mean, that was a lost cause. But I think that there's such a divide in their party right now. And I think that divide is probably going to grow even further. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But in my opinion, I don't think that there's anyone that can beat this president. And really, if I had to give you one reason why, I would go back to it's the economy, stupid. I mean, show me anybody that doesn't like more money in their bank account and more money in their pocket, in their wallets, in their pocketbooks. I think all Americans, enjoy that. They like it. It's about economic opportunity and freedom. And so I think that right now, unless some major incident happens, I think that President Trump is on the way to a big victory, regardless of which candidate the Democrats stick up there.
And I tend to agree with you. So what about the prospect of this party continuing forward? The Democratic Party, they seem to be in full-blown meltdown mode. And really, all of these crazy plans, there's a certain fringe base, the Bernie base, that loves the concept of having government do everything. But the rest of the country is not yet willing to accept this, are they?
No, I mean, because there are moderates, but I think it shows that, like I said, it's not your father's Democratic Party anymore. Some of them would say that the party's left them. I think at the end of the day, if you want to go back and look at what has happened, 2016 was, if you look at both the Republican and the Democratic side, the Democratic Party, what happened on both sides was that the American people were sick and tired of the establishment. The coastal elites, the elites do as I say, not as I do. And that's why you saw a revolt on both sides. Now, the Republicans finally came to their senses and I think, have coalesced for the most part around President Trump. I think that that's what happened in 2018 when we lost a lot of the Republicans, and good riddance, because they weren't helping our cause anyway. So I think at this point, going forward, I don't know if, listen, I don't want to call anybody out for their age, because we know that President Trump is up there in age. But Bernie is, I don't know how he's not just a socialist, he's a communist. So how does he, I just don't know how he can bring the party together. And honestly, at this point, I don't know any of the candidates that can bring the party together. Their leadership, there's a lack of leadership there. I don't know how they come together. Ronna McDaniel, President Trump, tapped her. I think she's done a great job. The people have gotten on board, and as I said, it was good riddance to many Republicans. But how this moves forward with the Democratic Party, I just don't know. But the party elders, I think, are on their way out.
Well, we can only hope and pray that you are correct. It's certainly going to be interesting. And hey, we didn't even get a chance to talk about the Nancy Pelosi meltdown at the State of the Union. Trump has basically broken her, and she's never going to be the same. She's another one that they might want to start looking for accommodations for. At the very least, assisted living, independent living, where they can see to her needs, and she can, get some proper dentures prepared that aren't rattling around half the time. Not to take it too personal, but it is kind of amusing.
Well, listen, my objective is to remove Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House by flipping the House and giving it back to Republicans. And Nancy needs to retire, go home, spend time with her grandkids. And we need to make sure she never has that opportunity again to sit in that chamber and do what she did in front of God and the world when she tore up that speech. It's obvious that she had a bad week last night. I think that it's probably only going to get worse for her. And I think that it's time that Republicans take back and put the adults in charge, where we can actually do the business of the American people and get stuff done for the American people. And obviously that's not going to happen under Pelosi's leadership. And that's why we're engaging on this and launching this Boot Pelosi tour. People can find out more info at bootpelosi.com. And we're going across the country, coast to coast, 10,000 miles almost, to take that gavel out of her hands by taking back these congressional seats. So that's where our focus will be.
All right. Well, that's exciting. Hey, we want to find out more about you, Amy, connect with you on the web. How do we do that?
You can go to womenforamericafirst.org or bootpelosi.com. That will link to Women for America First. And I'm on Twitter at Amy Kremer, and it's Kremer. So follow me there, and, let's take back the House. That's the most important thing, and reelect our president.
All right. Hey, amen to that. Good luck. And hey, any questions or comments for Amy, myself, please email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. Put any comments up there on YouTube that you like. We answer them all. And while you're at it, take a look at our site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Subscribe to the newsletter and our Facebook page, Financial Survival Network. Twitter feed at Kerry Lutz. Amy, good luck. And hey, hopefully we'll see you at the next inauguration.
Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.